So let's talk about performative reading today. Performative reading is primary to show off or create a certain image, especially on social media, rather than for actual understanding or personal pleasure. It's about appearing well-read or intellectual. I am knowledgeable in that. No, I'm not. What is reading to you? Why do you read? You let me know down in the comments, and I promise you, I'm not gonna judge you because as Erica, I was a performative reader in grade 7. In this article, I'm going to link it all down below. Amanda talks about how reading is now often performative, shifting from a private activity to a public display online, driven by consumerism technology where people showcase their reading habits and curated bookshelves, right? In this article, Amanda also talks about how the desire to read is not for personal gain, but how someone would like to be perceived as someone who is well read. She talked about how setting goals on Goodreads had affected her. Was maintaining her reading goal, was it for herself, for a Goodreads follower, or was it for her pride? Now, speaking of performative reading, let me share a story with you, a very cringy one. Picture this, okay? Me, grade 7. I did not understand English, could not write a full sentence in English for the life of me. Erica and I are at the library. Erica is browsing fiction, and bam, I was right next to her when I saw Twilight. I had to read it. I was thinking to myself, girl, although we don't know English, we don't know what hence means, we have to read this. Hence, I borrowed the book, and I gotta admit, just clutching the book, just walking out the library with the book Twilight, I felt so much cooler, I felt so much smarter. I felt like, yeah, I did not just watch the movie, I also read the book, which in complete honesty is not always a good thing. And the lie, yeah, I totally read the book. Now, years later, I truly fell in love with reading. It took me a while to get into fiction because I used to think that they were a waste of time, which I was so wrong, okay? There's nothing like getting lost in the plot, in the story, and just being able to see everything unfold in your mind, in your head. That feeling sometimes is so much better than watching movies. But let's go back to the pressure to show how we're reading, why we're reading certain books. Think of those curated celebrity photos with books, the constant Goodreads goal updates. Why are people performatively reading? There's a relationship between performative reading and the shift to digital detox core. So going offline and doing tangible things is trending right now, and reading is one of the activities, right? I'm totally on board with people disconnecting and just going offline, doing things that would make them feel present in the moment. It could be jogging, it could be people watching, it could be journaling, it could be reading. But here's the problem. I feel like the whole digital detox core, which... why are there so many cores? Can create pressure, not just to be offline, but to be reading while you're offline. So you're not reading for pleasure, you feel forced to pick up reading because everyone's doing it, or even to read specific books while you're offline so you can have that image when you go back online. Maybe this need to flaunt knowledge comes from the fact that we have access to all the information that we want and need right here. Device. We have at least one device with us at all times. This makes it hard for us to admit that there are things that we don't know. So, girl, tell me about it sexy again, because I think that's sexy. Reading should be about you. It should be about your personal curiosity, and it's for your personal experience. What doesn't interest you now might interest you later. One day, I hope to read Dune because I tried to read it a few months ago and I was like, okay, this is way above my league because I'm lost. I feel like the truth is escaping the internet's influence is very difficult. We are so connected, and yet we often feel very isolated. And online, we are always comparing ourselves, subconsciously even. So when we see a celeb looking effortlessly chic, holding a book on a yacht. That little voice in your head says, maybe I should try reading. Because it's true, reading for grants, for fake paps are a form of aesthetic. It is. Reading is a form of aesthetic. It's about creating an image or an online persona. To be seen as reading is to be seen as living a certain lifestyle and to be seen as an intellectual person, but I read SMUT though. Performative reading for aesthetic is not just about the story, it's about the aesthetic of the book cover and what the book represents. This makes reading a prompt to sort of attract external validations of coming off as someone who actually reads or are interested in certain topic. There's a debate around Addison Rae and her holding Britney Spears' memoir, which a lot of people were questioning if she was actually reading it. Now, seeing celebs, influencers, or anyone that you follow reading certain books will nudge you to feel like maybe I should pick up that book as well. But let's not dismiss that sometimes trends really highlights really good books. If everything that we read is dictated by other people, reading is no longer a form of fulfilling curiosity. And a huge part for me when it comes to reading is just being able to go into another world, just be in someone's mind for a short period of time. But I'm doing that in my own time. Does that make sense? That is one of my favorite things about reading. So what's hot about reading again? Not reading. Just kidding. Reading is fantastic. You know, there are books that I wish that I could just forget just so that I could read them again. Sometimes I read romance books, sometimes I read fantasy books, sometimes I read tea about Facebook. But seriously, being curious and just fulfilling that curiosity, that is way cooler than just following a trend. If you don't seem to be able to get into reading, that is cool as well. You don't have to read to be cool. Honestly, if you're interested in something, I think that makes you cool. There are so many things that we can do offline, and your worth is definitely not measured by whether you read or not. And girl, with that said, I will catch you in the next one.